Buongiorno everyone, I hope you are doing good. Today we're gonna go for another easy and fast design in Nomad with an iPad. You can see the final result down there. For the start, like always, I'm gonna delete the default ball and add another sphere. Then I'm gonna use move brush, I'm gonna increase the size and I try to make it much longer. Here I'm trying to have a balance between using a smooth brush and other brush. If not, I could use the Erlenmeyer icon on top right to use levels and make the whole shape smooth at once. Now I want to add another ball for make the nose. Also I gonna enable X-ray on bottom left so I can see through the shapes. In this case it is much easier to see what I'm going to do with this shape and find the best place for the nose. Although I don't know that how big should it be. It doesn't matter for now, I just gonna make the whole shape. Later I gonna move it and find the best position for the nose. I gonna use every option of gizmo to find the best position and try to change the shapes and the size in different dimensions. Still I'm not sure what I'm gonna make, but I want to have a character in the styles of cartoons or puppets. So I think I need to make it more smooth. Also I'm gonna change the place of the nose a little, so make it a little more friendly. I'm gonna bring it down and then I'm gonna add some more spheres for the ears. Like previous time, let's make it X-ray and just change the position. You need to keep changing your view from sides to front. I'm gonna go on left to make it a little less thick and make it a little more thinner. I think if it's gonna have a round ears, it's gonna be much more friendly or funny. I don't want to have a realistic character because still I don't have skills to create a realistic character in Nomad, and I learned that if I make one part so realistic, especially about the skins, and when I cannot make the other parts so realistic, the final result is a mess. I don't like it, so I just gonna try to keep it simple, fast and enjoying design. Now it's the time to use the box to make eyes and eyebrows very fast and easy. You know, a couple of hours ago I was in Pinterest and I was searching for a reference. Then I saw a perfect character, but unfortunately I lost it and I couldn't find it again. But I had it in my mind that it was so cartoonish, big square eyes, red hair, so I'm gonna try to create something like that. Now I think I just gonna leave the eyes like that, but later I gonna return and I gonna make them more round. The character that I saw in Pinterest, it was so friendly and so funny. It has a little bigger nose, maybe a little longer or a little more wide and fat. I'm not sure. You know, I have the complete picture in my mind, but I cannot remember the details. In this way I have I have the whole image in my mind, but I don't have the details, so it's gonna give me more freedom to create my own character. Also I want to suggest you that if you cannot find enough reference or models for Nomad, try to search for ZBrush, especially in Pinterest. You're gonna find much more. Here I'm just playing with the clones. I make an eye, I clone it, and now I clone another time to make eyebrows. I'm gonna put them a little more close to the eyes and make them maybe a little more longer. I don't know, maybe it was better if they are more close to each other or no. I have no idea. For now I just gonna leave it for now like this. I think I have some problem to make it more smooth or adding details, so I'm gonna join everything that I made up to now together. I'm gonna join nose, head and ears together. I'm gonna find them, I'm gonna choose them, and I'm gonna use voxel remesh, so they're gonna be one single shape. It's gonna be much easier to work on them like that. I will not join eyebrows and eyes to them because I think it is easier if those shapes that I'm sure that I'm gonna paint them in a different color gonna stay separated. Now let's make smooth these edges for the nose and also for the ears, front and back. Still I can see that it is not so smooth, so maybe I can use levels. I'm gonna go in Erlenmeyer and I'm gonna use a smooth. I have a couple of options for a smooth, but at least I think now it is much more smooth. I can not see the light is gonna reflected like before. For the mouse I'm gonna use the easiest way, so I'm gonna use Crease, and then maybe I'm gonna mix it by clay and a smooth brush. Usually we can create everything that you want just by mixing 4 main brush, which are moves, clay, smooth and Crease. Maybe we have a little chin here, also maybe the lips are a little more smooth. I should also make a holes in the nose. Again, the easiest way to make the holes in the nose is clay. Change the mode to the sub, so instead of adding layer it's gonna decrease the layers and make a hole for you. Also we can use it for the ear. I think I have to use also Crease, or maybe try to make it a little more flat to see what gonna happens. No, actually I think if I gonna use flat a lot it's gonna be a little more realistic, so no, I just gonna leave it a little more round, especially for the edges like ear and nose. As still I'm trying to learn Nomad, by time I learned that it is better if you add at least one source of light in middle of your design and do not postpone it to the end. It's gonna be a little more high quality, you can see better the shadows, the shapes that you make, and you can see easier the texture on the skin or the other surfaces that you're gonna have in your design. Here I see that my remesh is a little messy, but I just gonna leave it for now. Maybe later I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna increase the voxels, but for now it's okay. I don't want to add so much details because I don't want to make it realistic, because I know that I cannot. So maybe it is the time to jump and start painting this one. I'm gonna use the default painting for the skin, and then I'm gonna change it a little, so it's gonna be a little more close to what I have in my mind. The character that I have seen in Pinterest, it was so friendly and so funny, and of course so easy to make. It's a good color for the base. Then I'm gonna increase the intensity, it should be much less still, and I'm gonna change the color so I can make it a little more red for the cheeks, chin, and maybe the nose, the ears. I have this feeling that this character lives or is right now in a cold place, and the nose and ears are a little more red. I think it's a good time to increase the resolution a little more so I can work on the eyes and eyebrows. Okay, then I have to choose the eyes, one of them, make them dark, also the eyebrows, to make the whole shape much faster. I think for the eyes it should be a little more metallic. Let's choose a red one for the eyebrows. Okay, now let's go to the eyes, choose a little more metallic black so it's gonna reflect the environment. Not bad, but let's do a little more for the mouse. Choose crease and try to make a gap here and make it a little more red. For the lips, usually it is a little more metallic, it can reflect a little more light, so I'm gonna keep it a little more less rough, or maybe add a little more metallic color. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with it. I'm just gonna leave it for, because I don't know, the character in my mind I cannot remember, but I'm not sure if the mouse was so sharp or no. Anyway, let's work more on the skin. One of the easiest way that I found is to choose one of the alpha patterns for the skin, then increase the size and choose a little more strong color, and maybe it is too big, so I'm gonna make it a little more smaller, and then a little more maybe rough or metallic. Let's see what gonna happens. You know, maybe it is one of the people, it's a red hair, a little more dots in the face. It has a cute face in my mind. Maybe you can just make the speed of this video a little more faster for here, because I don't know what I'm going to do. I just try different colors with the patterns for the skin until I get satisfied. Okay, also let's paint the backside. I completely forget about it. No, I don't like this pattern. Maybe the color. Also, why I'm torturing myself, I should increase the size of the brush so it's gonna be much easier. What is this? Let's increase. A little better. What you gonna do with this nudge? So the good thing about it, I think it doesn't change the pattern, it's just gonna change the color, gonna mix it, and to be honest, in not very good way. I think the face is complete. Now let's save it and then try to add a little hair to this character. The easiest way, I think, for this case is to use just a simple sphere. Well, it's gonna be like a helmet, and then I'm gonna use clay in the sub mode, so I'm gonna remove the hair from the face. I'm gonna trim it. It's a good start, I think. I never used this method before. I don't know what's gonna happen. I should clean it around the ears. Maybe I have to increase the resolution so I can work on it much easier. It's so sharp also. I'm gonna smooth it later, but I think the result is going to be okay. Here for the forehead, let's make it a little more smooth. Good. Let's trim the back a little. Then I want to use clay, but in the normal mode. I'm gonna add some, some more shapes, more layers for the hairs, especially in the front. Let's make it smooth. Also here, make it a little more trim. I think, okay, I need more here. Come. Okay, let's smooth it again. I think the result gonna be okay. I like it. Then maybe we can also use drags, move. I'm not sure. Well, good actually. I didn't expect that. What about move? It's going to be okay. I don't like the round shape on the back, so I'm gonna add more layers here in the front to make it more natural. Maybe one side has more hair than the other side. I think it was like that in the that picture in the Pinterest. Oh, look at here. Actually it becomes so good. I didn't expect that. I really like it, and I don't know, but I really like even this color. The white color, it really suits this person. Maybe I'm gonna keep it, but let's make it a little more. You know, the good thing when you make the stylized face and characters in Nomad is that you don't have to be worried about the hair. If not, you have to use hair cards, and it's much easier, much harder than what I thought. I prefer to use the easiest method and just enjoy, and then I'm gonna use trace. You know, I'm gonna add more details. It's gonna look like that you're gonna use the real you have the real hair here. I'm just gonna do it until I get satisfied. Maybe we can go a little forward or increase the speed here, at least for a couple of minutes. I'm gonna make it somehow smooth in some places, and then again I'm gonna use grace. I'm gonna repeat this process a lot. It is my first time that I'm using this method, and I really like it. It's so satisfying. Maybe I need to add a little more clay here, so I'm gonna have more bumpy and more hair here. I don't know why it is like that there, so let's increase the resolution. Maybe I can smooth it. Let's smooth. No, okay, no. Okay, let's use here. Here works. Yes, the whole shape getting more smooth. It is better, much easier. Last night I was searching for a new method to make hairs in Nomad. I noticed that some people using a method that they call it hair cards. To be honest, it looks amazing, but it was much harder than what I like. I prefer fast and easy ways like this. I'm so happy with that. Now let's do something about this snake. I don't like it, so this time I'm gonna use mask. I'm gonna choose a place. Okay, I wanted to invert it, but no, it doesn't matter now. Now I can use on the not dark area. I have freedom, I can do whatever I want with them. I'm gonna make it a little longer. Here I have to smooth it. So also in the neck. I forget to make the eyes round, so let's choose them and use a smooth to give them more round edges. I think in this way it's gonna look much more friendly. Also, I want to repaint the center of the eyes with a little more metallic black, so it's gonna reflect the environment. Let's disable the pattern. Okay, I'm trying to add the little dots. Let's make it metallic, decrease the size, and make some dots in a metallic color in the eyes, so it's gonna be more. It is too big. Smaller. Maybe it's okay for now. Let's see. Whatever you choose. I don't know. I think I'm gonna leave it for now. Let's paint the hair. It was red in that character in Pinterest. I'm gonna also choose red. I want them to be a little shiny, not metallic, so I'm gonna decrease roughness. I want to find the red color that gonna match the eyebrows. I think in the original character there was not such a thing, but I want to have a little more single hair, especially in the lighter and whiter colors. Make this character a little older. I'm gonna decrease the size as much as possible, and I'm gonna choose the color a little more near to white. I'm not happy with this color, so let's see. Usually people start having white hairs from here near the ears. Why it is like that? Maybe it is so small. This, oh, it is also so white. But let's continue for a couple of minutes to see what's gonna happen also this side. I'm not sure that I'm gonna like the result or I'm gonna keep it at the end, but I'm gonna just do it. Maybe I'm gonna add a little more dark hairs. I suggest you to go forward or increase the speed for a couple of minutes, because I don't know. Here I'm doing this, but I'm not sure that I want to keep it, but let's see what's gonna happen at the end. I think mixing using different brushes, especially crayon and clay, can give you a very good result. Also, I don't know, let's add more. What is inflate? I never used this brush before. Something like layer, something like clay. Let's make it a little more noise. If you use flat, you're gonna lose your texture that you made with crayon. I'm just gonna keep doing that. I think it's a time to add a little something like a clothes for that. I'm gonna add another sphere. I'm not sure. Maybe it's gonna be a stomach, maybe it's gonna be for the neck, maybe I'm gonna keep it as a ring. I don't know. Let's make it a little bigger here. It could also be the body, the stomach, belly. It's good. Let's validate it, and then let's add another one also, this time a box. I want to keep that sphere as a belly, and this one gonna be like a color for the shirt, color. Okay, let's be sure that it is correct. I want to make a hole inside, so I'm gonna duplicate it, make a colon. I'm gonna let's first change the size of this new box. I'm gonna use boolean to make a hole inside the this box to make it more real, more close to a real shirt. This part is always a little tricky. Okay, now we're gonna use boolean. I choose both of them, and then I hide the one that I wanted to get disappear and make a hole in the other one. It's good. Now let's make a trim. I want this part to be no, because you know it makes both sides trim, so I'm gonna change the view so it's not gonna trim the back. Okay, now let's make it a little more smooth. Maybe I can make it more thin, more look like a fabric. It's good. Now let's use drag, move. Maybe I have to increase the resolution, or maybe I have to duplicate it. Maybe first let's increase the resolution, then I want to join these parts together. I can drag, but it takes a lot. No, it's not the correct way. Let's go back. I can increase the size. This one is better. I'm gonna bring it to the stomach, and then I'm gonna join them together. It is easier. I'm gonna use the voxel. Okay, now I'm gonna make it smooth. That's hole here. Let's make it more smooth to see if I can make it smooth the whole at once. Let's make it a little more thin or fat. I have no idea for now. Bring this part a little down. Maybe I'm gonna add some hands here. I don't know. Let's make it smooth for now. Also the neck, make it a little upper. I have to use clay in the sub mode to make a hole here, so it's not gonna be visible when I have the neck here. Okay, a little better. I have to duplicate the shape, I think, because I want this part to be a little more, I cannot, maybe I can use trace or no. I have to duplicate these two parts. I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna inflate it, and then I'm gonna use a trim. So I'm gonna remove the whole down part, and a little spot left missed. Okay, now it's better. It's more realistic right now. I'm gonna make it a little more smooth. What is this option? I don't know. I'm gonna first make it a little bigger. So let's then use a smooth brush. I want this part to be a little more look like what happened there. I have to remove this part. I'm gonna trim that. Okay, it is more look like a real shirt right now. For those holes, maybe I can add some layers here, some clay, and then I'm gonna smooth it. Also, I need to increase the resolution and use the smooth brush. I don't want the light gonna be reflected like that, so it's not good. Now it's good, it's working. Now I want to have a texture for the fabric. A couple of days ago I downloaded some alpha patterns. This one, no, it is too much. I'm gonna decrease the intensity. Let's see, also for the neck, the sides, and the back also. To make it easier, let's join them together. The whole clothes gonna be one shape. I'm gonna join them together. Don't need to use voxel. I'm gonna choose a color, maybe a kind of light blue, like a normal shirt that usually men use. For the dots, I know that it is better if I insert some circles, some balls, but I'm so lazy. I'm gonna use brush, and I'm gonna start painting with that. Maybe it is better if I don't use symmetry or maybe it doesn't matter. I don't know. You increase the speed. It is almost done, but I want to add some more accessories, so maybe I can use a ring. For the necklace maybe, I'm gonna add a cylinder, I'm gonna make a hole, and then I'm gonna reduce the size. Let's bring it here. Maybe I can make holes together like a chain, or not. To be honest, I'm afraid to use repeat things together, so I'm just gonna use this small ring as one piece. I'm gonna bring it inside the neck. Let's delete it and do it once more because I lost the center. I'm gonna make a hole. I'm gonna make it smaller. I'm gonna use radius and I'm gonna put it in. Now you see it is much easier, much faster. I just need to do some little extra fixes and details to be sure that it's good. The holes need to be a little bigger. I'm gonna choose not this one, not this one, not this one. I want to make the inner hole a little bigger. This one, yes. These blue dots are for the inner hole. I'm gonna make it in size too small. Okay, seems nice. The place is okay. I want to make it a little more relaxed. It's gonna be a little look like a real necklace. So maybe I'm gonna use a smooth move brush to make it a little smaller, thinner and more relaxed. Also I'm gonna paint it as a gold. Also I'm gonna use levels option to make it smooth at once, and then maybe I'm gonna use clay to put some gems or some patterns, or maybe it is too small to show patterns or gems. Let's just keep it more simple. I'm gonna use move to make it a little more look like relaxed, and then I'm gonna use crease to add some simple patterns. It's gonna be so small at the final work and it's not gonna be so visible, so let's just keep it like that. It's okay. Now let's take another look. No, on the side, what the hell? No, it's not good. Let's change the back, make it a little more flat. Make the tummy a little smaller, or maybe I don't know, seems okay. Let's play a little with light. I'm gonna add more sources. I'm gonna change the direction. It is too bright. Seems a little better. Maybe I have to change also the background. It is too dark and simple. After this I'm gonna work on that. To find the best position for the light, you keep rotating the camera. The background is so dark, maybe I can use the default background. I'm gonna reduce the blur, make them more visible and also a little more bright. Now that I look, I'm not satisfied with the hair. Maybe I have to add some more patterns by using a stamp and alpha models, or maybe I have to change the color from the beginning. I want to be more look like a real puppet, so maybe I have to use a stamp and use an alpha pattern that's gonna make it more look like a real doll or puppet. I'm gonna choose that pattern with holes. It's a texture a little look like a fabric. Not bad. I don't have mood to work more on the face, but let's add make a eyeglasses. But I think still I have to add on his face to add some accessories. So let's add another, maybe eyeglasses. It is easy. Just add a sphere, make it a little more thin, then mirror it, so we're gonna have it also the other side. Of course, after finding the best position, I have to bring it back. Then after mirroring, I'm gonna have two sphere here. Then I'm gonna clone it, so I'm gonna have 4 spheres, but I have to move the inner one. So let's choose them, clone them, and let's move them to see. Now I know that what I'm working, I'm gonna make them a little smaller but a little more thick and put them back inside the frames, and I'm gonna change their material to more glassy. It doesn't work because I have to make a hole in the bigger spheres, bigger flame. So I'm gonna duplicate it, make it a little smaller, choose both of them, also the mirror sign, and use boolean. So in this case I'm gonna have a hole inside the eyeglasses. Then I'm gonna show why it all becomes glassy. I have no idea, but anyway, if the inner lens is glassy, it means that I can work on it. So I'm gonna choose the frame, make it a little more look like gold, iron or something. and then I'm gonna choose the lens. I'm gonna go to material. I'm gonna choose reflection. Then I'm gonna play with these options to find what I like. Also I'm gonna change the color of the lens, make it a little more look like blue or without any color, but I'm gonna decrease the opacity so maybe I can see a little of the face, some reflections. I don't know why it doesn't show the face. Let's change the color a little more to the white. Usually it works like that. Now I don't know why, but that's okay. The result is good. So I think it is done, but still about the hair I don't like it. It look like a meat. It look like a kalbas. So maybe it's the time to change the color. Let's do that. It's the time for some final touches. Maybe I'm gonna add some patterns or some texture to the skin. For the eyes, I'm gonna play a little bit of light for background, something like that, but I think it is done. I think I'm done. I don't have mood to work on it anymore, but you can work. You don't have to have the final result like me. You can have much better one. If you think it was okay, please subscribe and like. If not, I'm sorry that I waste your time. Maybe next time I can make something better.